morning, so I thought, do a quick video, episode 3. Just woke up. I'm gonna go out later to get breakfast, but I thought,
Three, two, one.
just relaxing before I have to do anything else. I don't feel well. I feel a little woof. I go to work later, so that's why I feel woof.
If you've seen the Back to the Future movies, and frankly, even if you haven't, you'll know that one of the most enduring characters from the movies wasn't a person at all, but rather a DeLorean. And not just any DeLorean, this DeLorean. Okay, so this car isn't the exact car from the Back to the Future movies, but it's a perfect replica, a near exact clone of the car that could travel through time once it hit 88 miles an hour. I've traveled all the way to Florida to check out this car, and I borrowed it from a viewer named Elliot, and now I'm going to show it to you. Now, I'm going to start with an interview with Elliot because, well, how do you not interview a guy who has a Back to the Future DeLorean time machine replica? Okay, first question. How long have you had it?
For about 3 years.
3 years. And did you buy it like this? Was it already like this?
No, it was just a stock DeLorean.
It was a regular DeLorean. So you turned it into all this.
I did.
What kind of process was this?
It took about a year of, working here and there, not straight, just, like weekends.
How do you know exactly what the movie car looked like?
So there's lots of screen grabs. There's lots of, looking at photos. A team restored the original movie car. It's on display now at the Peterson Automobile Museum.
How much stuff is functional?
So all of the things that are supposed to make noise. Everything that's supposed to turn on, turn off, turn on. With the movie car, most of the stuff you see on the outside of the car is just for looks.
How tired have you gotten of people coming up to you and asking questions? How many people? How often? Is it the flex capacity?
Yeah. So you got to give yourself a little extra time when you go places.
Because you're gonna get mobbed everywhere.
The worst is on the freeway when you see people with no hands on their wheels with their camera trying to take a photo.
Do you ever encounter people who don't know what it is? Who are like, what is that?
I've used some older people, but most people know what it is, and they shout out, "Hey Doc," or "Where's the flex capacitor?" The big question is that the car from the movie? There are people that don't even know that the DeLorean was an actual car.
Right.
I didn't know either. I was like, "What is this?"
Oh, interesting. I never even considered that.
There are people that just think it's this car. So.
Right. That was made specifically for the movie.
Exactly.
How many of these replicas are there?
There's no exact number. Probably somewhere between 50 to 75, I would think.
How close is this one?
This is, I would say, probably 95%.
So, and you're always thinking, like, well, there's a little thing that I still need, right? Like, that's always a question.
There's, like, the dumb things, like,
Oh, it's you. See ya. Just kidding. Never know who's going to show up in my neighborhood out here. Welcome, Peterson Museum. All right, come on in. You know what? I'm going to shut that door behind you just in case, because you never know in my neighborhood. So you get by me like this. You walk in and go take a look in there. We'll walk around a little bit, and I'll shut the door. All right, people. What I generally like to do is start at the one end. So follow me. It was an old print shop building that I bought many years ago. Kind of a two-story.
Ooh, I actually own that Ford. Ooh, a Ford X Coupe I actually own. I also own one of the cars too.
Because I was going to use it for a soundstage. And they kept saying, why don't you come by about 11:40? And then they quickly hustled me out of here at 11:48. And I bought it. And then, of course, when I came back to do it, I realized I'm right under the Burbank Airport entry runway. So planes fly over a long time. It's not a good place for a sun stage, although I have used it for several movies. And currently shooting a show called Some Assembly Required with
Seen
Richard
it.
Karn in this big. So this starts. I generally don't give people tours, especially like my pal Leno, who's down the block for about a mile. The original Home Improvement sign from Disney. I thought they were kidding. They said, anything you want from the show? When I canceled the show, when I bowed out of the show, I said, yeah, why don't you give me the sign? And it showed up like a day later. Like Last Man Standing, where we're taping our final season this season, there'll be memorabilia in here about Last Man Standing. Starting with the automobiles. This is the driving section. My wife's pristine 72 Bronco. Not much done to it, which means I don't really like driving it. Too short a wheelbase, too big a tires, but my wife adores this car. Literally in the shop there. So that's why I like driving it. Did anybody driven a Bronco like that? Short wheelbase, not my friendly thing. This was bought online. I wanted a Carmen Ghia. I love Carmen Ghias.
Volkswagen.
This was a special version that was built up in Seattle. I made some modifications to it. It's basically a 71 Carmen Ghia mixed with a 55 Porsche. So there's elements of both. Interior has got Porsche elements to it. Drives brilliant. I get in it with one of the guys in the shop. I don't feel right. I have no other way to describe it that way. It runs great. I feel like I need an ascot and big sunglasses. And when I bought it, I thought it was a hard top. The guy wanted to sell it really bad. I didn't really want the convertible. My wife adores this car. So that's her. And then I was slick. Oh God, get out of the way. The Volvo is another surprise I got from my wife. She loves eclectic cars like this. I remodeled this thing several different times. Volvos, I lived back east, and they were like the most reliable car back in the winter in Michigan, even though don't know why. It does seem bulletproof.
Sweden's colder.
I think it was in its day. I thought it was kind of ugly. Now I think it's kind of charming looking. It's just really slow. I don't think it handles really well. The dashboard's kind of funky looking to me, but it's a premier piece, and right now they're of some value. Last time I was at Barrett Jackson goofing around. This is the third Ford F-150-ish truck that I bought at Barrett Jackson out of, I don't know why, because I don't like to buy at auctions. I think the price gets inflated because it's too exciting.
Does your plug-in fade too fast? Try new Febreze Fade Defy plug. It has built-in technology to digitally control how much wrenches.
Yeah, a little bit. I gotta get ready to go to work in a little bit. The news will be on soon. So that's good. Later around 7-ish.
This is 100 years of celebrating Ford Motor Company's F-100. They built this with McLaren.
It was sitting in the back of the lot, and I said, damn, that's nice. The wheels, it's dated for its time. I think it's probably 20 years ago, so whatever the 100-year anniversary is. It's built to beat the band. It's really a track car. It's almost like a stock car chassis on it. I think why it sold for nothing was, and I've changed a few things to make it driver. I really do like driving it. I think most people chop these. I've got one that's chopped. I got one that has a blown Hemi in it. And here's my train. And so this thing has its drives great. It gets a lot of views. It's a little dated. I decided I'm not going to do anything to it. Generally, that would not be my way. This is a really interesting piece. My LT5 Impala from the 90s, I believe. Gosh, maybe 2090.
Oh, 96.
I had two of these when I worked on home improvement, so because I wanted it looked like the FBI or the president. So we had two mimicked, nothing mimicked like this. This was a Chevy project with myself. I put the aluminum 427 ZR1 motor, I believe it was, from Mercury Marine out of Oklahoma. It's got pieces of Cadillac interior in it. It's got Jaguar shelves in the back, so it's like a limousine type thing. At Pomona, if I've got my memory, and my memory is colorful, I think I did a 12.9 and a quarter mile when I first got out of this. This thing scoots. It has absolute great traction. It's a frighteningly fast sedan. And I remember the cameraman was going, do you know what you're doing in this? And I said, not at all. I mean, a little one hand. But this thing sets up, it connects. It's a fast car. Chevy, after they made it, said, we'll never do this again. The idea was, and I've done probably 5 prototypes like this for Chevy. This is before Chevy had any performance cars. Certainly like this, I think the sedan still to me is really handsome sedan. A lot of R&D went into this, and I transferred that to Cadillac, and I've done probably 5 prototypes for Cadillac. They're on posters around here where I wanted to have an AMG version of Cadillac. Went to them, we built it with Jeff Feitzel out of Michigan. He passed away, and it was a great time in my life because I get to go with GM and they do whatever they worked with us. New management came and that memory went away and it turned into the CTS versions. And we had a lot to do with this group, had a lot to do with that being part of Cadillac's history. My collection of American, I call them truck cars. I don't know what it was like where they said, somebody goes, hey, Tony, what if we put the truck motor in it? And the Galaxy with the 427, as you see, the interior is overdone, the 60s. I love this big motor, stick rear axle, they drive, let's be honest, I got a Demon. I drive a Demon with the chip in it that's near 890 horse, maybe 900. Nothing, these are like trucks. They barely get out of their way. They feel like they're going fast. They're not. They got no brakes, no steering. Unlike Jay, who'll drive anything, I get in these and I'm going, something's wrong with it. The guy, yeah, it's a 1964 is what it is. The 409 Chevy Bubble Top, great motor. Even today, it's a great motor. Bench seat, as you can see, bench seat, stick shift on the floor. I love how simple it was. They just had to put the big motor in it. My sense is the 409 was a weak motor on the lower end because a lot of these blew up early. I still think it's when you get it on the throttle, it's a great sound, and it's a wonderful piece of Paul, let's put the truck motor in there with a 4-barrel. I don't know how they got to these performance cars. I just love that the men and women that did that. Many years ago on a movie, I think it was the first Le Mans movie or maybe Grand Prix, the guy that portrayed Ferrari drove up to the race in this particular 330 GTC. I've always loved this car. I've always loved the look of it. Correspondingly, I love the Alfa Romeo GTV that looks kind of like this.
Give me a game. I'm using my Xbox right now.
Timeline, so every adult in the U.S. is eligible for a shot by April 19th. He initially set a deadline for May 1st. About a third of all Americans, some 108 million